So I'm up to my second figure in Wave 2, which is Poopdeck Pappy, along with Pooky Jones, his little diminutive buddy who I barely remember. So Poopdeck Pappy is obviously the cantankerous father of Popeye. I honestly don't know how old Popeye is supposed to be. Sometimes, I mean, he acts like a fairly young man, I suppose, but sometimes it seems like he's an old man. He kind of has that look of an old man who's possibly toothless, and that haircut doesn't look like an old man. So Poop Deck Pappy is supposed to be between 85 and 90, 90 some years old. He was created at 99 years old. And mind you, eventually they also introduced Popeye's grandmother, which would be Poop Deck Pappy's mother. And I have no idea how old she was. He was created in 1936 by E.C. Cigar and first appeared, in the cartoon Goonland in 1938. He was also had a pretty big role in the live action movie with Robin Williams. He was played by oh gosh, I knew his name and now it's escaping me. Oh shoot, he was Ray Walston. Sorry about that. Ray Walston, who also famously appeared in My Favorite Martian. And the story always seems to revolve around Popeye trying to find his Pappy. So they did that in the comic strip, in the cartoon, and in the live action movie. And so you can sort of tell that they are basically the same body. For some reason, Poop Deck Pappy looks taller. And I'm not sure if I just have him slumped down a little bit or what, but for some reason he looks taller. Now, one of the problems with Popeye and a couple of the other figures is the magnetic hat just simply does not work because of his hair. Poop Deck Pappy, I believe, has a magnetic hat too, unlike Wimpy, whose is just kind of carved. They have kind of a carved out spit. Oops. So there's really nothing carved in there. So I'm assuming it's a magnet and not just kind of staying on because of his hair. It doesn't seem to be a particularly strong magnet, but it holds. So strong enough. So I take it that's a magnet. We have also a second face, which is more of an angry face. A couple other hands, and then a anchor, which is all plastic. I think this chain is metal. Feels metal. And then we have Pooky Jones, and Pooky Jones, his articulation is limited to a little bit of neck movement, which is pretty much killed by the fact he has a gigantic beard. So Poop Deck Pappy, of course, is a grumpy old man, and I'll read his bio real quick. So it says here, and these are all spoken in the voice of Popeye. Me Pappy is an awful human being. What ran out of me when I was an infant. You know, I don't remember them ever dealing with who his mother was. But I never stopped loving him in spite of how terrible he was. And one day I decided to go and find him. Turns out he was living on a place called Barnacle Island, all by his lonesome, apart from his little shipmate Pooky Jones, what has been a loyal friend to him since forever, and a whole lot of mermaids, what was keeping him company. So I do remember that. He had these young mermaids around him, and they kind of followed him later. I brung him back to civilization and tried to teach him some manners, like what I got, only he been alone such a long time, they never stuck for very long. That's why he ain't sophisticated like me. Now, I do remember in the live-action movie when Popeye was singing, he said something along the lines of how his mother gave him up in a typhoon. So I don't know if that means she gave birth to him in a typhoon or she died at birth. So I kind of took it as she died at birth, but I don't know if that's what they meant. But I don't remember. You know, Popeye's been around so long, they probably did deal with the subject of his mom, but I don't think Elsie Segar ever did. So, and I don't remember any of the cartoons ever mentioning a mother. So this is a very nice figure. Another one. Give you some good looks at it. The articulation is basically the same as Popeye. Big beefy forearms, and the paint. There, for some reason, this plastic gets these little shiny spots on them, and I don't know if they're removable. But so he doesn't have the anchors on his arms like Popeye. So there's Poopdeck looking kind of goofy. There's more. So one thing I thought I'd mention also is that I kind of was asking the question when I was talking about Wimpy. Do these figures really feel like $35 figures? And that was kind of my question. I don't really generally collect figures in this price range. I collect more of the high-end expensive figures. So I was just perusing Amazon. Now, one of the things I will say is that Amazon, they're shipping these supposedly early May. So I got to jump on them. I beat Amazon. But, and they are selling for $35. However, what I will say is that Wave 1, those figures seem to have gone down in price. And one in particular, which is Bluto, was selling for $20, less than $20, $19.99 or whatever. And with free shipping. So I almost think that I would have preferred to wait and get them at a lower price. I'm a little torn on that. So if you're budget conscious, but you want Wave 2, you might want to wait. I don't think these are selling out. They might be producing them with plenty to keep up with demand. I'm hoping that the demand is high. Certainly, as I mentioned in my previous video, I'm getting a lot of views for my little channel for these Popeye figures. So there seems to be a lot of interest in Popeye. But if you want to save some money, you might want to just wait and see if the price drops down. I don't know if some of these more obscure characters, I mean, Poopdeck Pappy's not obscure. I think the most obscure character they've created is probably Sea Hag, and anyone who knows Popeye knows the Sea Hag. But anyway, so Poopdeck Pappy is, of course, another vital element of Popeye's cast of characters. And then I'll probably look at Sea Hag next, and then Popeye in his navy white.